It is the moment you have all been waiting for. The OOTP 26 long-term save. As you can see, the team we are rolling with this year is the Miami Marlins. Why did we choose the Marlins? Really, it's just simple. One, they're bad. Two, it's going to be a bit of a different challenge than it was with the Angels last year with our owner situation and our market situation. Currently tied for the 25th budget. We have the 30th payroll. Do have a decent amount of money to spend because we have such a low payroll right now. $46 million payroll is just pathetic. But the market size, really not good whatsoever. The fan loyalty is just awful. It's literally pathetic. That's what it's categorized as. Fan interest is very low at 48. Things not going well here in Miami. And then, of course, Bruce Sherman, the owner, he does have some demanding patience, which is, doesn't really matter to me because I turn off owner goals and I cannot be fired because that's just how I prefer to play this game. He actually does have normal fiscal personality, which is weird to me, but still, we are going to be here with the Marlins, and we're going to be not having a budget like we had with the Angels last year in OTP 25. Where obviously the team started off quite bad and then also had no farm system. The Marlins, I would say they probably have like a middle-of-the-road farm system. Mostly it's arms, though. And then obviously this team has not been good in forever. I mean, there was the one Skip Shoemaker year where they kind of scrappily won, they were around 500 and snuck into the wild card race. And then there was obviously the 2020 year, which just doesn't count whatsoever. So yeah, the initial goal here is to get the Marlins to be a competitive team, finally develop some bats here in Miami, which is something that they've just had immense struggle doing. But then overall, the long-term goal is to do what we always do here on OOTP. It's to go super far into the future with the Miami Marlins and see how much winning we can do and just manage like we do. Once again, the name we are rocking with here is yet another musician. If you don't know Craig Finn, lead singer of the Hold Steady. You would think that ages me, but I am actually not the age you would think a Hold Steady fan is. I'm slightly younger. Also formerly of Lifter Polar. Incredibly underrated band. If you've never heard of either the Hold Steady or Lifter Polar, I recommend you look them up. Now, before we actually get into taking a look at what our team looks like and the plans, which for some guys, and just taking a general overview of the state of things before we actually get the sim going. This first episode will just be pretty much a general overview, and then the second episode, we will really get things going with the sim and see how this first season with the Marlins starts going. But first things first, just wanted to go over a few settings changes that we used to do, or setting changes that we're always doing, just to, show you guys what I have changed. First of all, I think that we are going to keep the draft, or we are going to keep the draft, the usual draft date this year. I had been turning this back to June 1st, just because that made sense to me, because that was just, I don't know, that I wanted the draft to be sooner so guys could get more time in the big league or more time in the minor leagues after they got drafted. But one thing I started to really not like with my OTP series last year with the Angels and in the Oaks was that I pretty much formatted the episodes to where the first episode of every season would be that first 2 months of April and May, and then you would stop it there, and I would recap those first 2 months and then do the draft. It just felt like there wasn't really enough sample size in those first 2 months for me to really say anything. So basically every episode was just like, this guy's doing pretty decent, but, small sample size. This is going to allow us to get up to that date, that draft date, do the draft, and then boom, right from there, the trade deadline's a couple weeks later, so it's just a good stopping point for that first half episode. The only other thing I change on this particular screen is the maximum number of options in a season. This is default 5. I like to turn it on no limit. Last year, I just kept it on 5, and what you run into when you keep it on 5, maybe it's different this year, I doubt it, but what you run into when this is on a limit is that AI teams don't know how to process that, and they don't know how to plan around that, so you'll end up having the waivers every single year just be like the same dudes rotating constantly, and you'll look at guys who are on waivers and they're just on waivers like 45 times throughout a season, just getting claimed by one team, waived by that team immediately, claimed by another team, waived by that team immediately, claimed by, and you'll just get that over and over and over again because these guys can't option them in a season. You'll probably still get some of that because teams tend to do that with guys that have the 3 option seasons, which I will obviously not be turning off, but options in a season, we'll keep that at no limit just to, make it a little bit easier on the AI roster management because they don't really know what the hell they're doing. The other thing that we did pretty early on last year was we realigned the league. I think that we are not going to realign the league very early this year. We probably will at some point, but last year I did it in like season 3 or 4 almost, or something like that. Maybe a little bit longer, but this year I want to play a bit longer with the current division alignment before we actually get some expansion teams in here and realign the league. We'll probably end up doing the same alignment we did last time, but not until a little bit later on into the series. And then speaking of also evolution and league of realignment and whatnot, the dynamically evolving league, I am going to have this checked off for the start. I had this checked off entirely all last season, all last year's game. You can see this is where you can make it to where the league will just naturally have expansion, have rule changes and whatnot. Usually when I do leave this on, I uncheck all of this stuff and just do these expansions manually whenever I want them, and then just the more or less offense and more or less pitching is what we go with for the dynamically evolving league. We will turn that on, but not for a little bit later. I want to keep the run environment and everything how it is for at least the first few seasons, and then maybe once we get 5-10 years into it, then I'll check that stuff on and have more or less offense and more or less pitching so it doesn't get the same run environment for the entirety of the series. But for now, this is going to get checked off. You can also see I've renamed the Silver Slugger and the Gold Glove Award to be what they are. Another thing I changed, the only thing I changed on this screen, is stealing bases. This is on default normal. I check this up to often just because guys are stealing a lot more nowadays, and I would like that to be part of the game here. Maybe I go up to very often, but for now at least, it's just going to be on often. And then as far as some of the development settings go, we have the batter aging speed and the pitcher aging speed just drop down a little tiny bit so guys stick around a bit longer. This is something I've been playing with pretty much for I don't even know how long. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've started doing this. I just prefer guys to stick around longer. It's not anything huge or major, but dropping it down from the 1000 to 0.95, it's fine by me. And then we're also just taking up the batter dev speed just a touch, just to get these batters not having 5 years in the minor leagues to develop, because the batters do develop quite quickly, especially in today's development environment in the major leagues and in minor league baseball. Everything else that we're keeping default with the pitcher dev speed, that generally just be default. The target age is all default. We're not changing the TCR. And then also I ticked up the development lab to 10. I think this was 5 default last year. Default this year is 8. I just put it on 10. I think I was rocking 8 last year. 10 I think is what I'm going to sit on. I think it's good. 10's fine. That's what we're doing with it for the development lab size. And then, like I mentioned, we do have owner goals checked off. We have the GM-only users are always in control of the lineups and hiring. Sometimes this can get a bit finicky. Like last year, I remember I had this checked on the entire time. We had a manager that started getting a bit too big for his britches and was like, no, I'm going to do the lineups now. And I was like, buddy, I had this setting checked. It still didn't work. So who knows if that's actually a thing this year, but we are going to have this checked. And then, of course, also, we changed the overall and potential ratings to values of 20 to 80 in increments of 5. And then another thing that I would like to put out there as just like a feeler, if anybody has any ideas or what they particularly use, I don't really know what the go-to or the standard thing that community uses for the trading difficulty and trading preference. I ticked these both up 1. Default is this. I just simply did tick 1 up for each of these because to me, in my mind, default is probably going to be too easy. So we're just going to tick it up 1 on each of these. We're not going to use hard mode trading this year. That was the thing where whenever we trade with somebody, we have to submit and then wait to see what they say for the next day. I just didn't feel like doing that again this year, so instead we're going to be able to just spam that make this trade work button. Will this work? Or just see if we can get the prospects into the deal and just make it so it's a bit more seamless of a trading system. You know, that's another reason why I wanted to get the trade difficulty up a bit more, because I just want to not be able to just totally fleece the AI. Also, you know, my brain will also not allow me to just fleece the AI, and that will be something that I will be checking myself on. I'm not just going to be like, hey, we're going to trade for your best player for some bullshit prospect. I'm not going to allow myself to do that, but I would like the difficulty to be reflective of something that's not super easy to work around. We also tick this up from 4 to 5 minutes. I rarely even use the trade deadline system that they have in place. Usually I have my trades in place before then. But, you know, if we do, I'd change this from 4 to 5 minutes. And then also, player evaluation AI settings. I feel like this default setting changes like every year. I don't know what people use. I used to make this a bit more stats heavy, but I've read that like if you want the AI to value players better, you want them to be looking at the ratings. I don't really know what people use. If somebody out there has like a hard set thing that they think works really well for the player evaluation AI, please let me know. I am open. I am all ears. I would like something that is good. If this is good as it is, that's fine. But if you have something better out there, please let me know in the comments. And then we also changed the lineup selection from traditional to sabermetrics, because that just makes sense to me. Oh, and I also check on show player personality ratings on profile page. That's something I always do. That's not on by default. I think it should be, but it is. But it's not, so we do check it on. And then also, before we actually take a look at the team here, we do have the custom pages here for the pitching page. Shows all the relevant stuff. I added a couple new things onto here. Same with the lineups, shows all the relevant stuff. And then for the individual pages as well, let's just click on like Dane Myers, for example, their individual stats. This is all custom layout the way I like it to be. And then let's just say we go to the pitching, and let's just take a look at Sandy Alcantara. Once again, the layout, just like I like it to be. We've added a couple of new ones in there, like saves and holds, just to have them on there. But yeah. Those are the changes I've made. We'll probably end up making some tweaks here and there with pages and different views and stuff, but for now, that's what we are rocking with. Another thing that we will be changing that I forgot to change before I started recording was that we have 2 DSL teams. I am not managing 2 DSL teams. DSL is already really annoying to keep track of and get enough players in there for it. So we're not doing 2 DSL teams. I will be removing one of these and just rocking with the one single DSL team. And now, first things first, before we actually get taking a look at our team here, I do want to take a look at our front office and our personnel. Take a look at this. We're not going to fire Peter Bendix right now. He's fine to keep in that spot. Manager, we're going to keep it as is. You know, he's not the best first-year guy. We're not going to fire him before he's even managed a single game. But some of these other guys we might fire, like right now, if they are particularly bad. Bench coach, I mean, what does he have? He has 3 years left on that. Yeah, all these guys are signed through 2027, 2026 for the third base coach. The scouting director, we don't even have a trainer. The scouting director is 1,000% being fired. So yeah, this guy just straight up, bye-bye, get out of here. So we need to get our scout. That is the number one thing. We need a good scout. Is it the usual scouts that are here? Oh, I also always have a custom view for this page too. And I don't have that quite yet. So for now, we are going to look at guys who prefer to be scouts. And, okay. This guy, he favors ability, though. I prefer guys who go for tools. So RJ, I mean, this guy is really good with the outstanding across the board here in minors, international, and amateur, and only excellent for majors. He's got the best ratings here, but I don't like favorability guys. I prefer tools guys. So that's usually why we end up going with somebody like RJ Harrison. who is 70 years old and will retire pretty quickly. I don't think there's like another excellent guy out there, because basically what I'm looking for is excellent in both international and amateurs. Minors maybe a little bit, but for the most part, I want the international and amateur scouting to be the top tier. I can overlook some of this major and minor stuff because I can look at stats, but these I want to be very good, especially the regular amateurs. And I'm just seeing, like, this guy has excellent here and then good the rest. Is he worth going after just because he's younger and is going to be around for more than RJ Harrison? Possibly. There's also this guy who's 61. We could also go neutral and go with Roy Clark here, although he's 65. I mean, you might as well just go with RJ Harrison at that point. Yeah, I think we're just going to go with Lonnie Goldberg just because he's slightly younger than RJ Harrison. So yeah, Lonnie Goldberg is going to be the guy that we offer to be our scouting director. And then as far as the trainer goes, anybody who prevents arms yeah, we got some dudes out there. Rick Jamieson, he's the king, he's 57, he's the guy you get every single time. 100% getting Rick Jamieson. And then as far as our current hitting and pitching coaches go, the pitching coach, this guy, we'll keep this guy. Excellent teach pitching, good at mechanics and handling aging. We don't really need the development to be too great, but I mean, this stuff is great. He's got excellent teach pitching, average development. That's fine. We love this stuff. He is going to keep around for at least the rest of his contract. Pedro Guerrero here, average at teaching hitting. He's just not good. This guy is getting fired. Pedro Guerrero, bye-bye. No thank you. 68 years old too, not somebody we're looking to have teach our hitters. Maybe that's why they can't hit. And then as far as the base coaches, this guy he can't teach anything, but except he's good at teaching hitting. Like, he'd be a better hitting coach than he would a base coach. And the third base coach, once again, this guy would be a better hitting coach, although he does have this stuff going for him. So, like, he should handle the third base coach. We'll keep this guy around. The first base coach, if we can't find a hitting coach who is better than good, we might just promote this guy to be the first base coach, or the hitting coach, rather. Unless this guy is good. I mean, he'll stay there. He'll be fine. We also need to hire a AAA manager. So, current hitting coach, anybody out there, anybody at all, teach hitting. Legendary, Joey DeMonte, I've definitely hired this guy before. I think he might have been our hitting coach with the Angels for or I think it may have been Ben Johnson from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I think he might have been the guy that we went with. He's a contact guy, and then Johnson is a neutral guy. We'll go with Johnson. Yeah. He's better at handling aging, too, which is something I like to have at the major league level. And then just to get a guy on the AAA team, we're going to go with Miguel Centena here. He's going to be our AAA manager. This guy is crazy with his ratings, so we're just going to go hire him to be our AAA manager. This is something that I don't usually pay too much attention to this. I don't really know how much this affects things. It used to be a decent amount of effect on things. I don't really know how much it does anymore, but we're not capable of having a great talent at all these positions. Blake here is good at teaching catcher. He's the only person who's good at third base. And then we have nobody who's good at teaching running. And then first base, or infield, he's also the only good. So we just basically have to go with fair for one of these. And I guess we'll go fair for the infield. Honestly, I'm tempted to fire the first base coach just because he can't teach anything, and he's good at teaching hitting, but he's not a base coach. Even though he is from Jackson, I also think it's very funny that this guy is definitely fake. I can tell because he's 33 years old, and it says that he has 29 years of experience of being a first base coach, or just a coach in general. So yeah, this guy is definitely getting fired. We are just gonna bring in a better option for us at that first base coach who can actually teach some things, like in the outfield, perhaps. Yeah, like, let's get this going here. In-game running, too. Teach running is excellent. Jeff Fry. Jeff Fry is our dude. He's personable. Fantastic. Jeff Fry will offer the contract. Could I have gone with Bo Jackson? Sure, but we went with Jeff Fry instead because I didn't see Bo Jackson until after I'd already offered the deal. Alfredo Amezaga would have been cool too. That would have been cool. Bring back the former player. I also didn't see him. That would have been even cooler, to be honest. But you know, you live and you learn. So those are the offers we have at right now for our personnel. And here we are 2 days later, all 5 of the guys have signed, so we have our staff fully completed now. We actually have a scout and a training director. We had a trainer. We did not have a trainer, now we have a trainer, and now we have an actual good scout in Lonnie Goldberg. Obviously, he's going to have very low scouting on our entire system here, but just to go ahead and get things going, we're going to have him just go ahead and request a scouting report on the 32 guys that are currently on our 40-man roster, as well as just a couple guys in AAA just to get some reports on them. We're also going to go ahead and just add some more scouting budget since we have some extra money to spend, and it's obviously mid-season, or it's about to be the start of the season, so we would like to have this scouting budget up. We'll do 18.5. That was on like 12 before, and then we're also going to raise our player dev to usually like anywhere between 20 and 25 is pretty good. And just because, you know, we're trying to develop players here in Miami, might as well do 25 million. That drops us down a couple million there, but you know, it's worth it in my opinion. We want the player development to be pretty damn good, so we're going to go ahead and do it, as well as the scouting. Might even make this 20, to be honest. We just might make this a flat 20 million. Yeah. 20 million. Budget's now down to total money available is 43 million. We'll take that. We'll take that. So we got the player depth at 25. We got the scouting to 20. I think I was rocking both of these on 5 last year and both of these on 45. But we're doing 10, 10, and 40, 40 to start this season. Maybe I'll change it up a bit, but for now, that is where we are keeping it. We'll check in here. It is the official opening day because the Cubs and the Dodgers are over in Japan. Take a quick look at the top prospects report. We don't have any of the top 10 guys, but we do have, I would imagine, some dudes on here. When it comes to the hitters, we have one, Carter Johnson. He is a 19-year-old, 93 prospect in baseball, apparently. 19-year-old infielder, second base shortstop, looks like more of a second baseman. We will, right now, start we'll just name it prospects. Why not? We'll be boring with it. Name it prospects. Boom. Maybe make it a Wonder Kids. We could do that too, but we'll add this guy to the prospect shortlist here. And just keep an eye on him. I like to do that, keep all the top prospects on a short list. And this guy is our best hitter according to OSA's annual top 100 prospects for the batters. And then when it comes to the pitchers, I would imagine we have a couple more on here. We have 2. We have Robbie Snelling, who I know is currently in AAA with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Left-handed pitcher. He was a high school guy they took a few years ago in 2022 out of Reno, Nevada High School. And he was acquired from the Padres in 2024 in the Tanner Scott trade. Or yeah, the Padres took him, and then we got him from, okay, he was in the Tanner Scott trade. I was aware of that. So Robbie Snelling, he's currently in AAA. We are probably going to see him at some point, maybe this season. We'll have to see how things go. And then the other guy we have is Thomas White, who's actually rated higher than Robbie Snelling, another left-hander, number 18 prospect from a Phillips Academy, which is in Worcester, I believe. Andover. God damn it. Phillips Academy, even has it in the name. Phillips Academy Andover. 2023 first-round pick by the Marlins. Interesting player, already up in AA at 20 years old with the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. That is the thing with the Marlins, too, is that like all their minor league teams just have like wild names. You get the Jumbo Shrimp, you get the Blue Wahoos, you got the Beloy. It's Beloy, isn't it? The Beloy Sky Carp, the Jupiter Hammerheads. We're a big fan of it. I like that they're all fish-related or fish-adjacent because, I mean, Sky Carp, that's Skycarp. Is that actually like named after, because the logo is a bird, but I know, isn't there like some sort of carp that like flies out of the, it like jumps out of the river and it's like known as like a flying carp? I don't know. I've seen River Monsters with Jeremy Wade. Alrighty, the season hasn't even started yet, and Jesus Tinoco here already suffering a setback on his undisclosed injury. He will now take at least 2 to 3 weeks until he is ready to play again. That's fantastic. He is one of our, probably one of our more interesting relievers at this point, if I had to imagine. But 29 years old, we not going to be seeing him for a bit. All right, our scout has finally finished going through everybody that we gave him a task for. It is currently March 23rd. We are a few days away from our opener here against the Pittsburgh Pirates on the 27th. And it's time to finally take a look at the default 26-man roster that they have loaded in for us. Will we make some changes to this? Possibly. We've already got 2 guys on waivers as well. I will also at some point make an overlay for this, because this is just like a pathetic view of what shows here. We want things to be shown here that are not being shown. But Brian Baker, right-handed reliever, out of option years. James McCann, we don't need him. He's not even really that great of a framer anyways, but we also, one thing that you will see, we'll start things off with the bats, is that our catchers, one thing I added to the overview here is the infield range, the outfield range, and the catcher framing just right onto the overview page here. You can see that our catchers aren't exactly great framers. Our starting catcher with 50 framing, Gustine. I know this is the guy they got from the Yankees last year in the Jazz Chisholm trade. He's a pretty highly touted hitting catcher, but as you can see here, it's mainly for the hitting and not the defense. Just straight across the board 50 with blocking, framing, and arm. Not exactly what you want there, but he is slotted to be our starting catcher here. And honestly, I would prefer to have like his backup be like a better defender, because Liam Hicks is not really interesting to me. I guess he can walk a little bit and like not strike out, but this guy is not somebody like I would ever be like, yeah, this dude should be here. Also, who is hurt? We should be looking at that first. Don't we have like a good catcher? What happened to what's his name? Fortes. Did they get rid of him? He's in triple. He's not on the 40-man in AAA. Wow, he must have sucked ass last year. He did. He put up 0.1. I mean, back-to-back years of being bad. I guess I'm still looking at 2022 Nick Fortes, or Forts, however you say his name, as being like an interesting guy. But yeah, no, he is not what he used to be. 28 years old. Looks like they DFA'd him because he's making $1 million, close to $2 million, but he is in AAA. So I guess they DFA'd him. They also have 35-year-old Rob Brantley, who sucks, can't hit or catch. A lot of these guys do have low ability. Why do we have so many catchers in AAA? Joe Mack is probably on the way up here sooner than later. 22 years old. We'd like to see him do a bit more in AAA before we call him up. But even him, not a great framer. We will definitely be taking a look at some of these rosters here, because we do not want 6 catchers at AAA, 2 catchers at AA. Yeah, we do not want that. Narvaretto here, interesting. He's probably the best defender we have, but he's not really any good. McIntosh sucks. Can he hit? Not really. Hostetler, he sucks too. I mean, why are these guys even here, man? From North Dakota. I mean, what? They have a catcher from Bozeman, Montana, who went to North Dakota State. And he's fast. Oh, okay. I guess he's more of like a catcher slash infielder slash catcher. But yeah. I mean, none of these guys are really that intriguing. Rob Brantley is just very not intriguing at all. Why is he even on the team? Be on it. Let's just cut him right now. Get your ass out of here, Rob Brantley. We do not need that on the organization, in the organization. So yeah, back to looking at the catchers here. Liam Hicks is the backup catcher right now. And then Jonah Bride, you can see here, does have some framing because he is a former catcher. Right now does not have the ability to play it. He's also not great at blocking, so probably shouldn't ever be catching for us. And he's also one of our better hitters, coming off a above league average WRC plus season for the Miami Marlins last year. Not a huge sample size, but decent enough to where you have a decent amount of faith in him. With that eye, that's somebody I would even consider like leading off for us. Xavier Edwards got the speed, but that's more of an old school approach of having the speed guy lead off. I don't think he would lead off for us. Maybe he will. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so catcher, definitely something that we're going to have to figure out, and getting a better defensive backup catcher is something I would like to have, because we do want to give this guy some run at the starting catcher spot, but I would prefer to have a backup catcher. Now that we've talked about catcher for 15 minutes and I've rambled on and on about that, first base, right now it is Eric Wagaman. I guess this is probably more of a platoon. Yes, it is a platoon. Although, is he a reverse splits guy? No. He's not a reverse splits guy. The AI just has Matt Mervis as our first baseman, as a lefty, non-reverse splits guy, starting against lefties, and they have Wagaman, a guy who can hit against lefties, starting against righties. Okay. Well, those guys will be flipped. Let's just go ahead right now and clear all those depth charts. Clear the lineups as well. And we can just go ahead and say Augustin Ramirez is our catcher. By the way, once this episode is over, I will go and look up some of the names that I don't know how to pronounce. But for right now, he is just Augustin Ramirez. We'll just keep calling him Ramirez. He's the Yankee guy. Matt Mervis will be our first baseman against right-handed pitching. Yikes. That's the guy. We're going to have this power playing first base for us. I'm old enough to remember a couple of years ago when the Cubs had Eric Hosmer and the fan base was desperate to have this guy up in the big leagues. I think it was maybe 2022 when that season was happening. That would make sense to me. But anyways, 26 years old, almost 27. Lefty-righty first baseman. Really not a great outlook there. We'll probably be looking to move on from it. Honestly, just don't even commit to him being first base. Second base, right now we have two guys, Otto Lopez, who is super utility. We love the super utility. Interesting contact bat. Never going to walk, never going to hit for power. Javier Sonoja, who is a 22-year-old. I'm not really familiar with this guy. Another guy who's super utility. We do like that. Super fast, can play a really good infield, really good outfield as well. Never going to strike out. 80 grade strikeout. That is another thing also I forgot to mention is yes, usually I turn the show ratings over max on no, cut off at 80, but just, I figured why not? Why not have it yes? So if there's ever a guy who has like 100 grade fastball, we'd be able to see that. Because why not? It'll make it more fun. But just to get off topic there for a second. So Otto Lopez is a righty. Santoja is a righty. Okay. Santoja. I'm thinking of the MMA fighter. Otto Lopez is going to be our starting second baseman. Let's just go ahead and pencil that in. Jonah Bride. Honestly, I'd rather have him play. I mean, he can play a little bit of third base. But him playing first is not out of the question for me. Maybe we want to see what Mervis can do with like a full run, because he really hasn't gotten any sort of sample size in the big leagues. But I mean, just looking at these ratings, not something I'm really ecstatic to have at our first base big bopper spot, but he might be our best option. And then Cerna here, definitely just a backup. Jared Cerna. Xavier Edwards, not the most ideal shortstop with 55 range. Generally, I like to have a shortstop with at least 70. So really not ideal at all to have this guy playing shortstop for us. He's got 60 infield range. Honestly, he's probably a better shortstop than... Yeah. Lopez is probably a better shortstop than... He has 50 arm. And Edwards has... I mean, the arm. It's going to be the arm that limits Lopez. Only a 50 arm. So yeah. We might swap those two guys, but for now it's going to be second base Lopez, Edwards short. Let's just say Bride's third for now, because we don't really have a guy to put there. I guess center field is Derek Hill. I guess. Dane Myers, probably a guy we are going to be playing in left or right. And then Griffin Conine, the Nepo baby. I mean, the Nepo Marlins kid, even. And Kyle Stowers. Okay, who do we have on the 40-man that's not on the team right now? All guys who are hurt. So Jesus Sanchez is currently hurt, and that's another thing we should look at, his injured list. Edward Cabrera has a week left on an undisclosed injury. Braxton Garrett is going to miss the whole season with Tommy John surgery. Yuri Perez is going to miss 2 to 3 months recovering from Tommy John. He'll be back at some point this year. Ryan Weathers has 4 weeks of forearm soreness. Declan Cronin has 1 week of an undisclosed injury. Andrew Nardi has 8 weeks of a sore back. Jesus Tinoco, we already saw, had a setback. Connor Norby, the ECU man, they picked up from the Orioles in the Trevor Rogers trade, I believe it was. Yes, I'm insane. Connor Norby, this guy gonna be a starting infielder for us once he's healthy in like a week. And Jesus Sanchez will be a starting player for us once he's back. So yeah, decent amount of injuries already on this team. Victor Mesa, we would like him to be on the team at some point. This is somebody we would love to play in center or right field. As far as dudes right now who could play, Jacob Marcy is a lefty-lefty corner outfielder. Looks like he could play a little bit of center, but mainly a corner. Mainly a really good corner outfielder and kind of like an average center fielder. Has some really good speed, stealing ability. Had a really good year in AA last year with a 2.4 WAR. Gets on base a ton with that speed. That's a deadly combo. I don't know if we call him up right now. Maybe we will. But he's definitely somebody I'm keeping my eye on. They have Albert Almora Jr. in their system because, of course, they have somebody like him. This guy is a kind of interesting bat, but he can't really play. They did pick up Davison De Los Santos from the D-backs last year. OOTP seems to not love him. OSA loves this guy, but my scout hates this guy. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, he's got a big power bat, you know. I believe he led all the minor leagues in home runs last year, if I'm not mistaken, between his 3 different stops, 2 different AAA teams. So we do need some pop to the lineup. He could be a guy who's in the big leagues at some point. Maybe he's our first baseman. Maybe he's the guy we're looking for to just add some pop to the team, because right now we don't have any pop. Even with the guys who are currently on the roster at first base, Mervis has 50 power, and it's 55 against righties, and then Wagaman against lefties is 45 power. So I'm not really attached to Eric Wagaman, not really attached to Matt Mervis either. So honestly, we might just go ahead and be like, hey, Eric Wagaman, you've got 3 options. We might just send your ass down and then have Davison De Los Santos come up and be our first baseman. Although he only has 40 overall right now, it would definitely be a lot of swing and miss. He would not be hitting very well, but we'll think about it. Troy Johnston is a gap power, never strike out, horrible defensive player, but he's got like a major league bat. This could be a guy who comes up and maybe DHs for us against righties. Possibly. Somebody to keep an eye on. We'll put it at that. We'll also request a scouting report on him. And we already have him. Jacob Berry is a former top prospect of theirs, I believe. Yeah, he was a first-round pick in 2022 out of LSU. I knew I recognized the name. It seems that the game is not very high on him, but hopefully this power can develop and get us a power bat, a switch-hitting power bat even. That could definitely help us out. Max Acosta appears to be like our best prospect in AAA right now. This is another infielder who looks like he could be like an average, slightly below average powerish, not a great eye, but like a slap contact sort of guy who plays a decent defense, mainly at second base. He's a better shortstop than what we have right now, I will say that. Graham Pauley, who they picked up from San Diego in that Tanner Scott trade. Him and Robbie Snelling were the main pieces in that, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen Mazur and Bashirs yet on any of these rosters. They might just be lower guys, but those are the two guys I'm aware of, is Graham Pauley and Robbie Snelling. Graham Pauley, he's honestly probably an option for us at first base. He's not on the 40-man for some reason, even though he was on San Diego last year, so you would think he already is on the 40-man in real life. I don't know. But, yeah. I think we might call him up. We might call him up and have him play first base. Although he is a lefty and can't really hit against lefties. So, like, if I want to send anybody down, it would be Wagaman. Why is he selected? Oh. Yeah, if we did it to anybody, we would send down Wagaman, but sending down Wagaman for another lefty wouldn't really make sense. And then we saw Joe Mack. This is like a decent hitting catcher, lefty. What is Ramirez? Ramirez is a righty. Okay, but he can hit against both. Slightly better against lefties, but he's decent against both. I don't really know if I want to do like a platoon at catcher, especially since this guy is so highly touted. But I mean, this guy, maybe he's a DH. Maybe he's a DH, but Joe Mack also can't really catch. So it's just very... The catcher situation is not great. I will say that. That's what I'll say about the catcher situation. And then Robbie Snelling, we saw... He is ineligible for a prospect promotion incentive, pending more Major League Service time. Oh, so if we call him up, he might be... What, we might get like a draft pick or something if he finishes like top 3 in Rookie of the Year or something like that? I mean, he's not ready is the thing. He is not ready to be in the big leagues, so we're just not going to call him up. He's had one start in AAA. We're not calling him up. Oh, here's Mazur. Yeah, this guy is just kind of whatever. One of the other guys they got from San Diego. And then we have Thomas White, who is in AA. Not going to be starting the year in the big leagues, starting the year in AA, obviously. Maybe not this year in the big leagues, but probably next year, I would say. A couple other interesting prospects who are like very fringe interesting are somebody like Victor Mesa. He's been around forever as a prospect. He's 28. I shouldn't even say he's a prospect. I didn't realize he's almost 29. But he's a guy who can play an outstanding center field, but he can't hit worth a damn. So, you know, a desperation center fielder. Shane Sasaki is interesting. Definitely not like a long-term piece for us, but could be scrappy enough to where he could be an interesting outfielder for us. Play a really good 3 outfield positions, really good speed, steals a lot, had a good year in AA last year. Who knows? Maybe he comes up the Hawaiian. We get a flying Hawaiian guy on our team. That could be fantastic, but for now, he's in AA. Nathan Martorella here is a lefty-lefty first baseman, yet another one of these guys. Maybe he's somebody who comes up at some point. Who knows? But for now, he's going to be in AA. And then another arm prospect they have is Noble Meyer. One thing I am seeing that's new this year is the development risk, which is extreme on Noble Meyer. I would probably just agree with that based on the fact that he has a control that's going to be sub 50. His movement's only going to be about league average. He's an extreme fly ball guy. Never a big fan of those guys. His stuff really isn't anything too special. Yeah. I would say development risk definitely extreme on him. Also, he's just a pitcher, so development risk should be extreme on all of these guys. But yeah, we'll see. Noble Meyer is interesting enough to keep an eye on. Obviously, he will be added to the prospect shortlist. And then just because why not, we should probably also talk about Starlin Caba and PJ Morlando. These guys are both far away from the big leagues. Morlando was their first-round pick just this past season out of a high school in South Carolina. Very far away from the big leagues. 18 years old, currently an A-ball, lefty-righty, corner outfield type. Looks like he has some catcher ratings, too. Maybe he caught in high school. But, yeah, possibly a really good bat if he develops, but obviously very far away from the major leagues here. And then there's Starlin Caba, who they got from the Phillies in the Jesus Luzardo trade last season along with Paul McIntosh. They also got a Marion Boyd along in this deal. He is an interesting shortstop. Very, very good defensive shortstop. Possibly going to have really good eye, not going to strike out a lot, but is the power and gap power going to develop to the point where he can be a useful player, or is he going to be just a completely glove player who can get on base a little bit with like some slap singles and some walks, which I guess isn't exactly not a superstar player, but is a useful player. I will say that. I'm also just now seeing that Liam Hicks is a Rule 5 draftee. They took this guy in the Rule 5 draft to do what? To be a bad catcher? To back up your already bad defensive catcher? I guess because he, like, raked in Double-A? Sure. But, like, he's not really anything. All right, so just taking a look at the roster and what we have with our minor league situation, I think we want to get another outfielder up here just because I think it's fine to have Sonoja as the backup infielder, secondary outfielder. He has the utility. He's a 45 shortstop. He's got 55 range, 55 arm, 55 turn double play. And Cerna here has basically the same ratings, except he has 50 double play and he has less error. He's also a 45 shortstop. His bat is like slightly more powerful, but Sonoja's got the versatility. He's got the speed, high baseball IQ, apparently. He's never going to strike out. He's just an more interesting bench player to me than Jared Cerna is, who has 3 options. We're just going to go ahead and send him down. He's just really not that useful to me. So he's going to go to AAA. Sonoja is going to become like our secondary backup outfielder. And we are going to call up one of these outfielders. And I think we're going to rock and roll with Jacob Marcy, but maybe not, because lefty. Like, we have Griffin Conine, who's a lefty, but he can hit against lefties a bit. He's going to strike out more, but he's not like a total slouch against lefties. Marcy might be the move, but I also kind of want Marcy to, like, start when he comes up. Troy Johnston maybe is the move, and just have Sonoja as the backup center fielder, and then Johnston can be the backup left fielder and right fielder. I mean, this is a guy who, like, he crushes in AAA, he crushes in the minors, but he's never gotten a chance in the big leagues here. Yeah, I think we're going to go Troy Johnston. He's going to be the guy who comes up as our backup outfielder. We're going to go Troy Johnston in left and right. He'll also be the backup DH, because why not? And Sonoja here will be the backup center fielder. Maybe, no, Otto Lopez can't really play there, but we'll also have maybe Dane Myers. Yeah, Dane Myers will be like the secondary backup outfielder, because why not? And then as far as the lineup goes, we'll do something like, I do think we want this eye at the top, so Jonah Bride, we want leading things off. I think Otto Lopez maybe is a good 2-hitter. Not really, though. I mean, this is such an awful lineup. Ramirez in the cleanup spot. Hill's 100% 9th. Mervis is 8th, I guess. Stowers, Myers probably here. 55 power. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably like Stowers. Jesus Christ. I don't fucking know, man. This team stinks. Yeah, we'll do something like this. Bride, Xavier Edwards, Kyle Stowers, Ramirez, Griffin Conine, Lopez, Mervis, Myers, and Derek Hill. All right, So then we throw Johnston, Wagaman, and Hicks as the pinch hitters. Sonoja with Dane Myers as the secondary pinch runner because every third game we're going to play Troy Johnston's bat in left field. And then we'll also make Dane Myers the defensive sub. So late in games, if we need to, we can put him in left field when Johnston plays. And then against lefties, it's a little bit different. It's just going to be Conine, who's a lefty, who's not a slouch against lefties, so he's going to stay up on the order here. Then Ramirez, Lopez. Maybe we do something. No, we'll keep that the way it is. Yeah, we'll keep it the way it is. And then it's Lopez, Wagaman's at first instead of Mervis. Stowers drops down to 7th because he's a lefty who can't really hit against lefties. And then Myers and Derek Hill. So that's what we're rocking with the lineups here in Miami. Now it's time to take a look at the pitching, which hopefully is going to be a bit easier to figure out. Let's just go ahead and completely clear the staff. And obviously, our opening day starter is going to be Sandy Alcantara. That's just a no-brainer. He is our ace. After that, I guess Max Meyer. Max Meyer. Then probably Cal Quantrill. Then probably Dax Fulton. And then Veneziano. Man, that's brutal. that back end is brutal. Holy. I mean, maybe you just go with... I mean, he's not ready. He's not ready. His ratings are just not good. We're not going to... 35 stuff, 45 movement, 45 control. Pitches that aren't developed. No, he's not ready. He's not ready to be in AAA. Mendoza, though. This is a guy... I don't know who this guy is. He was in AA. His ratings are already pretty decent. How did they get this guy? Okay, they got him from the Rangers in the Jake Berger trade. Okay. Along with Acosta and Vargas. So yeah, we might just have Brian Mendoza be in the major league rotation here. Because I don't think this guy is really cutting it. He's from New Jersey. You're from New Jersey, and even I'm going, I don't know, you probably stink, buddy. So, I don't really think he's definitely not cut out to be a starter. Maybe he could, hack it as a reliever. Does he go up at all? He goes down as a reliever. Okay. Just go to AAA. We don't want you. You're going to AAA. Brian Mendoza's coming up. Brian Mendoza's going to be in our rotation, to the point where Brian Mendoza is our third starter, just to get the lefty-righty-lefty situation going here. Mendoza, this guy is our third starter. Things are brutal. Now, you do have to keep in mind that we have a lot of starters on hurt. Edward Cabrera will be back soon. Ryan Weathers will be back in about a month. Yuri Perez in 2 to 3 months. So obviously once Cabrera, Perez, and Weathers are back this season, we're not going to have these 3 guys in the rotation. But, maybe they pitch well enough to stick around in the bullpen once those guys are back. But for now, we are going to have those guys as our 5. And then in the pen, I guess Anthony Bender is just a traditional closer. Sure. Calvin Fauché, I do like him. I don't know if it's Fauché or Fauscher. Fauché sounds cooler. We'll just go set up for him. We don't have any lefties in the pen. What is that about? What is that about? I mean, this guy just flat out sucks. Another guy from New Jersey who stinks. Why is he on a team? Do we have any lefties down in AAA that we could call up? We have Veneziano, but we saw that he's worse as a reliever. Any interesting lefty? I mean, let's just take a look at the AAA staff here. Snelling is a lefty, obviously. Veneziano. This guy stinks. This guy is not good. I mean, my God. How about AA? We're not calling up White. We're not calling up Palacios. Cade Gibson? No. No. extreme fly ball, but he can't control anything. His extreme fly ball, not really what we're looking for. But I mean, he might honestly be our best lefty option in the system. That is incredible. Seriously. Josh Simpson. So it's really either Josh Simpson or Justin King. Okay. Oh, they have like +5s on it. Okay, it actually shows you who's better rather than you actually having to sit there and like really eyeball it. So yeah, Josh Simpson is just better. He has no advantages. He has multiple +5s. Although his stuff is way better. He throws way harder. His pitches are potentially better. He has a really good curveball, though. They both have, like, very comparable career players. Guys I've never heard of. Kevin, like, oh, you're compared to this guy from 2003 and also Matt Tracy, who pitched 2 innings in the big leagues. This guy pitched 4 1/3 innings in the big leagues. And these are guys that were like, these are our best lefty options in the bullpen. That is incredible. Well, they're probably going to be DFA'd like right away, but I do think that we're going to call up Simpson. I mean, they're both fly ball pitchers with 45 movement, 45 home runs allowed. It's just, do we want a power pitcher, or do we want like a junk ball guy who throws a good curveball? Fastball, curveball, fastball, slider, changeup. He was not good in double. Not that these really the real life stats mean anything. I mean, fuck it. Justin King. We can't just. We have to place him on the 40-man and then call him up. What? Oh, because the roster's not empty. We need to open a spot. So we need to figure out what the rest of this... Tyler Phillips is the guy who's going down. This guy, out of option years. No chance this guy we even want him on the team. So we're just straight up DFAing him. Tyler Phillips, get DFA'd, get the hell out of here. And then Justin King gets promoted. He becomes a middle reliever for us. Faucher's a starter. We'll go 6th or later. We'll go 8th plus or later on Bender. We'll just do 9th. We're not gonna. We'll go high leverage on him. High leverage on Faucher. We'll go secondary closer on him, to be honest. Connor Gillespie. He's like a long reliever, just sort of slop pitcher. I mean, this is brutal. Brutal stuff in the fucking pitching here. This guy is somebody we can work with. Ronnie Henriquez. We'll go him as like the use more often middle reliever. Seth Martinez can be like a middle reliever who's got like a set up secondary, I guess. George Soriano. We like that. He's got some decent stuff. He's got 45 control. He's got 50. Yeah, so I think we want Henriquez as the other setup guy. We'll put secondary middle relief, and we'll make Soriano the use more often setup middle reliever. Seth Martinez, we'll give him like multi-inning second. Oh, didn't he used to be a starter? Am I thinking of the wrong guy here? Maybe not. So maybe not long relief for him. I mean, this guy just... What am I going to do with any of this? Just out there throwing batting practice every day. And he's making 2.25. And you even know, oh my God, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy, long relief, avoid high leverage, mop up. Connor Gillespie, also long relief, avoid high leverage, mop up. We never want these guys in games that are not anything that are 8-inning blowout or 8-run blowouts. These are our middle relievers. We'll have him as the specialist secondary. Seth Martinez will just be regular middle relief. Yeah. And I think that's what we're going to roll with here. And see how it goes with that as our team. So yeah, this is going to be our pitching staff, 1 through 5. Here's the bullpen. Usually I like to have a stopper, but we don't really have the guy to be using a stopper. We don't really have anybody that we like at all in our pitching staff, to be honest. But Bender, he's going to be our stopper, or our closer rather, traditional closer, and then the lineups against righty is going to be that, and against lefties is going to be that, and that's what we are going to head into the season using. Also, I'm going to adjust our strategies here. What was I doing last year? I think it was like default. I think it was like 97. I forget what the default bench fatigue was. I think it was 97. Anybody goes below 97, then we bench them for a day. 3 runs or less, sure. 8th inning, leading by 3 runs or less. Then we'll bring in defensive subs, base lineup on the likely follower. Yes. And then for our strategy here, we want to be running a decent bit. Base running will make that a bit aggressive. Hit and run will maybe put that down like 3 ticks. Sack bunt, we want that maybe like 1 up. Squeeze bunt, maybe like 1 up. Bunt for a hit, maybe like 3 up. No, 1 more than that, yeah. Pitch around, just for like default pitchers, probably like maybe the middle. Intentional walk, we want that. Yeah, we'll do 2 whole runners. That'll go up 1, 2. We'll put that up 2. Play infield in. We don't like that early being on. Play corners in. We don't really like that being on. Guard lines, maybe have like 1 tick. I know the shift is banned, but we're still going to put this all the way to the top. We'll do something like that for the outfield depth. And then the starting pitchers, we want the hook to be pretty quick for most guys. We'll go in and do like their own setting for some of the guys that we trust more. Prefer lefties. Prefer matchups, especially with this. Yeah, we'll 100% do something like that. Yeah. Pinch hit for pitchers, it does not matter. Position players, we'll tick that up like 1. Tick that up like 1. I'll take that down 1, to be honest. We'll keep down 1, yeah. So that'll be our strategy heading into this season. And I think that we are ready to embark on the 2025 campaign. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I think we are prepared.